So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
So even just to step back a bit further, I'd love to hear how your two individual stories, like how you got into beer. I know a bit about you, JF, clearly, but yeah, would you just want to, it doesn't have to be super lengthy, but just to let people know, because a lot of folks, watching and listening are, home brewers who want to get into the game, and from you guys being in one of the OGs, as we call them in beer in Canada,
as the original gangster,
triple
the beer world.
They share the knowledge. I think people would really be fascinated with that.
Well, I have a pretty typical background. So I started as a brewer home brewer in '91, I think. Just because I was at the college and I had a friend who started home brewing, and one of the reasons because it turned out to be really cheap to have a party. Oh, cool! And by this time, having good beer, even the microbrew was hard to get, really expensive. I was at college, and then after a few batches, I said, well, it would be nice if it tastes good.
Yeah.
And actually, I was studying in science, so I always loved the science
side of it
behind of the beer fabrication. So I just get really into it, and it's always stayed like the parallel background of the school and university. I met my business partner, Stefan, and so I said, well, running a brew pub would be nice. So I was doing mostly enzyme production for paper whitening, so it wasn't that really sexy. So I said, well, I prefer doing fermentation and drink it.
Yes, fair enough.
And and by this time, there was still quite few microbrewery, not so much brew pub in Montreal, and I definitely didn't want the bottle and everything. I want to have the freedom to create a new beer, so you just have to take a chug and put it on the board. And so I started with a small system, 5 hectoliters, so I knew I would have to brew all the time.
Yep.
But it was a way I could learn a lot and fast and develop different type of beer. And it's just 10 years after we decided to move to Saint Jerome for the bottling.
Right. Was that because of demand? Like people were wanting...
Well, there was two things. There was a big demand. I could not brew enough at the brew pub to supply just the pub, so it was one of the reasons. The other thing, so people were loving our beer and they was asking for it. And also I was, looking for a new challenge. The brew pub is fun. And so after a while, you see all the people brewing and selling their beer, not always really good. Say, okay, I should do something. So,
right.
But yeah, you come to a point you need a new challenge, and
of course.
I was ready for that.
Okay, amazing. That's dope. And Jen, how'd you get into beer?
Mine? Mostly just because I spent my 20s kind of semi-retired doing nothing, just traveling and bartending. And it was great, but I had a existential crisis coming up to my 30th birthday, and I was like, oh God, I gotta do something with my life. And I guess it was like a logical progression from what I was doing before, because I was working in bars and progressively better bars that had better beer selections.
Right.
Got interested in beer and was like, I wonder if I could make this. Made a few bad batches of homebrew, and then just timing worked out right when I was having these ideas. Niagara College launched that program.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was in.
Great.
Yeah,
so you were a graduate of that program?
I was in the second class, so I know the format's a little bit different now, but I was a part of the 2-year program, the second graduating class. So I did that, and then it was just sort of a bit of my plan to convince JF to give me a job. From the get-go, I was like, I wonder if I did this program, if I could, move to Quebec, and then somehow wangle my way into JF's life and make him hire me, and it worked out. It was really easy, actually. I thought it would take a lot longer.
Very persuasive.
But I don't know what happened, but it's just timing. We met at the right time, and a few years later.
How long have you worked here?
2 years almost.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's coming out. I think my anniversary here is the 1st of March or first week of March.
Yeah, very close.
So it's coming up soon. Yeah.
Do you bounce back and forth between the brew pub and here, or you're just stationed here?
Most of my brewing career has been in big breweries like this. I find I had an internship at BAOS when I was in school, and they had their small.
That's where I met you, actually.
Yeah. It was a fun Oktoberfest party. And then so they had. It was right before they got their big giant system. So it was like a 20 barrel system or a 20 hex system. I can't remember, but I remember being very intimidated by the size of it because I had been brewing on a 5 hecto system, or I think it's a 10 barrel system that my part-time job when I was in school had. And then but that was physically a little bit too much for me because I'm really short and everything was taller than me.
Right.
So my first job out of school was working on a 20, 30 hex system,